fill me up, I need your love now.
Makes me wanna clap my
hands. Makes me wanna clap my hands. Makes me wanna do my dance. Makes me wanna shake my fringes. Makes me wanna hug my kindred. Makes me wanna keep these laws. Makes me wanna testify. Makes me wanna leave this world and wave goodbye. A spirit
of gladness and peace.
A spirit
so zealous in me.
I feel it.
It's taking over me.
I'm willing
to be all I can be. Yeah.
Makes me wanna clap my hands. Makes me wanna do my dance. Makes me wanna shake my fringes. Makes me wanna hug my kids. Makes me wanna keep these laws. Makes me wanna testify. Makes me wanna leave this world and wave goodbye.
No tripping, let your Holy Spirit run out. Yo, Captain, fill me up, I need your love now.
No tripping, let your Holy Spirit run down. No cabin, fill me up, I need your love now.
Raise your hands to the sky, come on y'all. If you love the Most High, raise your hands to the sky. If you love the Most High, say.
Raise your hands to the sky.
Come on.
If you love the Most High,
raise your hands to the sky.
Raise your hands to the sky. If you love Yahweh, say.
Raise your hands to the sky. Come on, y'all.
If you love the Most High,
if you love the Most High,
raise your hands to the sky. If you love Yahweh,
raise your hands to the sky.
Raise your hands to the sky.
Raise your hands to the sky. Raise your hands to the sky.
Raise your hands to the sky.
Raise your hands to the sky. Raise your hands to the sky. Raise your hands to the sky.
Raise your hands to the sky.
Raise your hands to the sky.
Raise your hands to the sky.
And wave goodbye. Makes me wanna clap my hands.
Makes me wanna clap my hands. Makes me wanna do my dance. Makes me wanna shake my fringes. Makes me wanna hug my kindred. Makes me wanna keep these laws. Makes me wanna testify. Makes me wanna leave this world and wave goodbye.
All right, y'all know what to do. When we say True Nation, y'all gonna say True Nation, all right? Come on, let's get ready. 1, 2, 3. Say True Nation, True Nation, hey.
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 True Nation, True Nation,
Makes me wanna clap my
Makes me wanna
hands.
clap my hands. Makes me wanna do my dance. Makes me wanna shake my fringes. Makes me wanna hug my kindred. Makes me wanna keep these laws. Makes me wanna testify. Makes me wanna leave this world and wave goodbye.
All praises. The Most High is like, yeah, I liking that. Knocking with the speakers, huh? All praises.
How y'all doing? All right, sir. All right. All praise be to the Most High. All right. It's always a blessed thing to get a chance to see another Shabbat, another Sabbath. All praise be to the Most High for that. As always, I want to acknowledge any visitors, and it appears that we do have one. How you doing, sis? Go ahead and stand up. All praise. She said, I'm ready. Pleasure to have you here. All praise be to the Most High. I hope you enjoy yourself.
My name is Shazak.
Hope you enjoy yourself, sis. And man, make sure y'all make her feel welcome. All praise be to the Most High. Indeed. And man, it's good to see everybody else. Every single one of y'all. We can't take that for granted at all. All right. I don't know if it's any of my biological family, watching on. I know some of them might watch from time to time. And definitely sending my prayers out to my family. We had a big loss today. And also the Pride family. My condolences, and obviously grieving with you. Loss of my little cousin. But the Most High is in control. And, we got to continue this race. We got to continue this walk. So just want to put that out there. I know some of you guys watch from time to time. And just to let y'all know that we definitely out here. We feeling it too, man. He would definitely be missed. He was truly loved. And love each and every one of you guys too, man. So I couldn't go on without saying that first. I hope you continue to listen, because the title of today's lesson is The Chosen People. The chosen people. Sometimes we start to make things a little bit more complicated than what they need to be. And we kind of got to just go back to the basics. We got to remember who we are, and the opportunity that's been given to us. Sometimes we get caught up in everything else, and we just forget that. Go to the book of Job, chapter 9. And let's get verse 21.
The book of Job, chapter 9, verse 21. Though I were perfect, yet would I not know my soul. I would despise my life.
He said, if I was perfect, if I was doing everything I was supposed to be doing, everything that I knew to do, I was doing it to a T. And I didn't know who I was, even though I was doing the things that I needed to do. If I was in a situation where I did not know who I was, he said I would despise, I would hate my life. And that's something that's so true amongst our people. We go through so much hell. We find ourselves a lot of times in life, we have our moments where we're trying to do everything that we know to do right. And yet it seems like hell continues to follow us. It seems like a gray cloud continues to hover over our heads. Raise your hand if you ever felt like that. Some of us was at times in our lives we were getting ready to give up. And everything got put into perspective when I knew who I was, when I found out who I was, that I'm an Israelite. I'm of the chosen people of the God, the creator of the universe. And I was able to look at my people and my history in this book and make sense of why I and my people go through the things that we go through. And that made all of the difference in the world. Go from there. Go to the book of Psalms. Book of Psalms, chapter 22. And let's get 9 and 10.
Psalms 22, verse 9. But thou art he that took me out of the womb. Thou didst make me hope when I was up on my mother's breast.
Go ahead.
I was cast upon thee from the womb. Thou art my power from my mother's belly.
See, the thing that you got to understand, because the scripture says, many are called, but few are chosen. Some of you guys, have you really understood what that actually means? Many are called. You can call on a lot of people, doesn't mean that they're going to answer the call. All right? But only few actually answer the call. Only few are actually chosen. Only few actually walk the walk, right? This scripture right here is saying the Most High didn't just choose you in 2021 or 2020 or 2019. You were chosen long before that. That's why you probably have stories, even when you was acting a fool and you were nowhere deserving of what you have right now, because you was doing all types of foolishness, a part of all types of foolishness. But I guarantee that you got stories of how the Most High had mercy and the Most High preserved you anyway. Because it was already preordained. He knew it way back when you was a little bitty baby. He already knew what you were going to become. You know, and that's beyond us, because a lot of times we think we know more about ourselves than what we actually do. We think we got it all figured out. And then we get to a point where we think that we chose the Most High and we chose this truth. When the fact of the matter is, the Bible tells you that that's not the truth. You were chosen. You got to remember that. Stay in the book of Psalms. Go to chapter 33. Psalm chapter 33 and verse 12.
Psalms chapter 33, verse 12. Blessed is the nation whose power is the Most High.
Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord. That Lord right there is substituted for its actual name. Whose God or whose power is Yahweh. See, it's all types of other nations that'll tell you that they God is Buddha. They God is this, they God is that. But the children of Israel, you find out that the children of Israel, our God is Yahweh. Yes, the one and only true living God, the creator of it all. That's right. We're blessed. Sometimes we get in a place and we focus on some insignificant things in our lives, and we forget how blessed we truly are. We forget that. We forget in our moments of weakness that we got a God that we truly can call upon. Go ahead.
And the people whom he has chosen from his own for his own inheritance.
We are the people that he chose for his own inheritance. Out of every other people, he said, I want you. I choose you. And that's something that we can't take lightly. Go from there. Stay in the book of Psalms. Get 135 and get chapter 135 and verse 4.
Psalms 135, verse 4. For the Lord hath chosen Jacob unto himself, and Israel for his peculiar treasure.
For his peculiar treasure. We're not just anybody. The Bible says we are his peculiar treasure. Things that you treasure, how do you treat them?
Precious, guard them.
You guard them. You safeguard them. You make sure you separate them from all other things that are not as important to you. You make sure if there's a need for upkeep that you make sure that you keep them well kept. You maintain them. That's what you do with treasure. You hold it in high regard because it's of value. And we got to be careful because we find ourselves in such a low place, in such a low estate, that a lot of times we don't value ourselves and we don't value each other. The Most High is saying, you're the apple of my eye. You're my peculiar treasure. And a lot of times we don't look at ourselves in the same way. We're self-destructive. And sometimes we got to snap up out of it and remember who we are. No matter what you may think of yourself, sometimes you got to check yourself, and sometimes you got to check your brothers and check your sisters. And remember who you are as a people. There's a lot riding on us. Go from there. Go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 41. 41 and verse 8.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 41, verse 8. But thou, Israel, art my servant.
Say that one more time.
But thou, Israel, art my servant.
He said, you're my servant. We are his servant. Everybody want to talk about how they serving the Most High, serving the God of the Bible, the God of Israel. And they obviously don't even know what it means to be a servant. You got folks that think serving the Most High is lip service. I love me some Jesus. And they think they justified. There's a whole lot more to serving the God of Israel. And it is a privilege to be in a situation where you can serve. It's a privilege. Go ahead and read.
Jacob, whom I have chosen, the seed of Abraham, my friend.
Go ahead and read verse 9.
Thou whom I have taken from the ends of the earth.
He said, I done gathered you from the ends of the earth.
Talking big boss.
You got people up in here. Everybody up in here didn't come from the United States of America. One of our sisters right here that walked in, she came from a lot further than the U.S. You came from Germany, all the way around on the other side of the earth. Think about that. The thing that we got to remember is, he said, I gathered you from everywhere on earth. I scattered you everywhere. I told you what I was going to do. I did it exactly the way that I said I was going to do it. I was talking to one of my boys last night, man. We was digging in these scriptures. And he was asking some questions. And to him, it probably seemed like some of the questions were some tough questions. And all I could do was say, let me hit you with some simple answers. The reason why we should believe this and follow this is because the God of this Bible did exactly what he said he was going to do, exactly in the way that he said he was going to do it. That's right. Without fail. That's why I'm a believer. That's why I fear. That's why I'm following what I'm following.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Art.
That's so true to what he said, because I always tell people, we are the living proof. Look around. Look what happened to you. Look how you living. According to these scriptures, you live in the same curses and the blessings that happen to us. And right now, we're going through the curses. So whenever you got doubt in this scripture, just be like, man, I'm the living proof. Ain't no better proof than that.
Yeah, we live these curses. If you don't know nothing else, you find out about those curses, and we live those curses. And we constantly see them. Even if you feel like you done rose up a little bit, all you got to do is walk outside. Look where you at. Go ahead, Art. Kind. Absolutely. We got to come up out of this. Said you still here, you still physically here, but you got to disconnect spiritually. We got to disconnect from all of the garbage that's going on these streets. It's only a ghetto because Israel's right here. By definition, it's only a ghetto when we arrive. So in other words, what are they telling you? That everywhere you go, you can't escape the ghetto. You are the ghetto. So if you are the ghetto, why are you going to continue to allow somebody else to define what the ghetto is when the ghetto is in you? It's time for us to define what the ghetto is and what the ghetto needs to look like. And we need to start building the ghettos of old. That's what it is that we got to do. Go ahead and finish that off.
And called thee from the chief men thereof, and said unto thee, Thou art my servant, I have chosen thee, and not cast thee away.
He said he didn't cast us away, even to this very day, with everything that we've gone through as a people, everywhere on this earth. He said, I still didn't cast you away. I punished you, but you still mine. And I'm still giving you yet another chance to serve me, to get it right. We can't take that for granted. Go from there. Go to the book of Psalm. (146) in verse 5.
The book of Psalms, chapter 146, and verse 5.
Yep.
Happy is he that hath the God of Jacob for his help.
Happy is he. If you knew what you had, you'd be happy. That you got the God of Jacob, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the one that everyone that knows anything knows as Yahweh, the Almighty. You ought to be happy that you have him. Read it one more time out.
Happy is he that hath the God of Jacob for his help.
Go ahead.
Whose hope is in Yahweh, his power.
We got to put our hope in the Most High. We've been putting our hope into too many other things. You put your hope in your job. You put your hope in your finances. You put your hope in your companion. You put your hope in your loved ones and the homies and the homegirls. You put your hope in television. You put your hope in fortune cookies. You put your hope, the children of Israel, we put our hope in everything but where we should put it at. You need to put your hope in the Most High. Crazy. The Most High is the only one that can deliver us out of a lot of the mess that we going through. It's getting crazier and crazier out here every single day. And the only thing that separates them from us and all of the tragic things that are happening on a day-to-day basis to so many of our people is that you hopefully are keeping these commandments, which puts you in a place where the Most High will consider your prayer. That's the difference. Sometimes there's people out there that's depending on you because they prayers, they don't even realize their prayers ain't even getting answered. You they lifeline. You got to put things in perspective. Put it in perspective. Because a lot of times we so focus on self when we don't realize, man, that we ain't nothing but kibosh. We ain't nothing but a sacrifice. We ain't nothing but a sacrifice. And you might as well get used to it. Don't be mad about it. You a sacrifice for somebody else. You a lifeline for somebody else. It's people, little do you know, and they probably will never tell you, or they may tell you sometime in the future, they watching on the sidelines. They haven't gotten themselves together enough to do what you do, but they sitting on the sidelines rooting for you and hoping that you can maintain on this path. They looking at you hoping that you can continue that race. You sitting up here thinking ain't nobody watching, don't nobody care. Somebody cares and somebody is watching you and hoping that you keep that connection. Because they know, even though you might not realize it, they know that you they lifeline. Secretly they praying on your behalf, praying that you stay connected, that you can keep on doing the things that you're doing, because they see the change in you. They see the change in you. They see the spirit on you, and you don't even know it. Go ahead. Was that all of that? Go from there. Go. I don't even need it. Go to Exodus chapter 3 and verse 10. All we could be is a vessel, because I could be gone in any minute. Man, I humble myself. When I hear things like what happened to my cousin, I just humble myself. I humble myself. Who am I? But then I got to get that balance, because at the same time, I know they watching. Go from there, Exodus chapter 3 and verse 10.
Exodus chapter 3 verse 10. Come now therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people.
Who?
My people.
My people who?
The children of Israel out of Egypt.
That ain't never changed. This is not some fad. You understanding who you are and embracing who you are, these are the people of the Most High, the God of this Bible. He said the children of Israel, my people. You chosen. You're chosen. Don't take that lightly. Go to 2nd Esdras, chapter 5 and verse 27.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 5, verse 27. And among all the multitudes.
Hold on, I want to get it contextually. Start at verse 23. Start at verse 20.
2nd Ezra, chapter 5, verse 20. And so I fasted 7 days, mourning and weeping, like as Uriel the angel commanded me.
Go ahead.
And after 7 days, so it was, that the thoughts of my heart were very grievous unto me again.
Go ahead.
And my soul recovered the spirit of understanding. And I began to talk with the Most High again.
Go ahead.
And said, O Lord that bearest rule of every wood of the earth and of all the trees thereof, thou hast chosen thee only one vine.
See, he said, sometimes we lose. You ever been in a situation where you had some understanding, but then somewhere along the line it seemed like you lost what you had? You ever been in that situation? Yes, sir. He said, somehow after I cleansed myself spiritually, he said, I recovered my understanding. And this is what he began to realize. This is what he began to understand that we miss. Read it one more time, verse 23.
And said, O Lord that bearest rule of every wood of the earth and of all the trees thereof, thou hast chosen thee only one vine.
He said, you talk about out of all of the different plants, out of all of the different species and the contributions that they make, you talk about one plant in particular. Go ahead.
And of all lands of the whole world thou hast chosen thee one pit. And of all the flowers.
Hold on. He said, now out of all the lands, he said, you've chosen one pit. One place. One plot, if you will. Now, you know how many beautiful places there are on this earth? He said, out of everything, all the beautiful places that you've created, you always talking about Jerusalem. You always talking about Zion. Why is this? Read on.
And of all the flowers thereof, one lily.
He said it's a plenty of beautiful, fragrant flowers, flowers that bring forth fruits. And he said of all of them flowers, you talk about one flower. You talk about that lily. Read on.
And of all the depths of the sea, thou hast filled thee one river.
He said, and of all of the different waters, of all of the different oceans, of all of the different seas, the rivers, the lakes, he said, you keep talking about one. You talk about one. You chose one. I don't know why that's your favorite, but you chose that. Go ahead.
And of all builded cities, thou hast hallowed Zion unto thyself.
He said, and of all every city, there's some beautiful cities in the world. Everybody want to go to Dubai. He said, but of all of the most beautiful cities in the world, he said one. You chose one. You always talking about one. You talking about Zion. Go ahead.
And of all the fowls that are created, thou hast named thee one dove.
He said of every bird, there's some beautiful birds, some big birds, some small birds, some angry birds. He said, but it's only one bird that you talk about. That dove. Read.
And of all the cattle that are made, thou hast provided thee one sheep.
He said, and of all of the cattle, you can like any kind of, a lot of us, we feel like more is better. I'd rather have a cow. That's a lot of good eats. He said, and a lot of us, we like this. I like a little bit of this. I like a little bit of that. Some people like goat. He said, but I like the sheep. I chose that animal. Read.
And among all the multitudes of peoples, thou hast gotten thee one people.
Why does the world have a problem with him choosing one people? And a more important question is, why do we have a problem with him choosing one people, especially when you the people that he chose? Do you feel that you're that unworthy?
Y'all hear this guy? Man, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. Because it's hitting me the same way. It's self-reflection. Do we really feel that we are that unworthy? We're that dirty? We're that hopeless? What do we see when we look in the mirror? And what do we see when we look at each other? What do we really see? Go ahead.
And unto this people whom thou lovest, thou gavest a law that is approved of all.
And he said, unto this one people, I gave you a law, but that law is approved by all. It ain't nobody that can naysay this law. Just like the Bible said in the book of Deuteronomy, he said, this is the thing that will make you great in the sight of the nations. And by us neglecting that same law is the very thing that has caused us to be at the mercy of all of these other nations. He said, all you got to do is come back home. First and foremost, he tell you in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 30, he said, as soon as my people finally decide to come back and keep these commandments, he said, then I can turn your captivity. So in other words, what is he saying? You in captivity because you want to be. Collectively, you want to be in captivity. Our people ought to be like, we ready to get up out of here. We tired. But we so invested in everybody else, and we most invested in people that don't love us. We've been taught so long to not love ourselves, to not embrace ourselves, to not look in the beauty that was created in us. But we look at the beauty that's in everybody else. We look at the precious things that's in everybody else. And the same people that we so invested in are the people that concentrate and focus and put their energy into destroying us constantly on an everyday basis. Every day. It's not even a situation where they're like, oh, by accident. It's a concentrated effort. It's systemic. And for all of that, our people still don't feel as if we are worthy. The Bible tells you how you need to feel about your personal self, so I'm okay if you don't feel worthy yourself. But you ought to rise up to the occasion and understand that your people deserve better. You ought to want to stand up on behalf of your people. I look at some people, because the truth of the matter is this. I'm going to talk to you real quick. I'm going to talk to you real quick. Some of y'all that's been living for some time now, you don't fear death like you used to fear it. That's why it's hard for anybody to get you to change some of your ways. A lot of us, we got some pretty self-destructive ways. And it's hard to get you to change your ways because you realize that you're going to have an end someday. And you kind of accepted it. It's scary, but it's true. But then there's always that something there. Some of y'all, it's your kids. Them kids will make you reconsider. You feel like you ain't necessarily got to be here for yourself, but if you ain't here, who's going to be there for your kids? Right? See, that's the thing that we got to understand, that we got to figure out, and we got to get the proper balance, because a lot of us, we got a false balance. We're in self-destruct mode because we just don't have enough in us to care enough to rise up to the occasion. Whether it's a child, whether it's a person, I don't care what it is, you better find, and I tell the kids this all the time, you can't have motivation without a motive. You have to find a motive, a reason. Some of y'all may struggle sometimes. You found, because you wouldn't be up in here if you hadn't found it. You got a motive. But you struggle from time to time to keep that motive in perspective. Keep that motive in perspective. Because it's time to work. It's time to get ourselves right. It's time to clean ourselves up. It's time to get it right. Because our Heavenly Father is calling us. He's calling us. I had to talk to my brother just yesterday that dropped by. And it's funny, man, because there's certain people that's on my heart since the moment that I stepped into this truth. There's certain people that's been in my heart, that's been in my mind, that I've had conversations with. A few more so that really stay in my mind for whatever reason, for various different reasons. But there's a list of people who I've had connections with and relationships with that I've had these conversations over the years with. And it's a tough pill to swallow because the reality is this. One of them in particular, another one of my cousins, I recall talking to him and telling him about this thing that we call the truth. Very intelligent young man. And I could just remember him looking at me and saying, man, sound right, man, but you telling me too much. You telling me too much. And I just recall that scripture, and I don't want to butcher it, but it's a scripture where the people said, what? Speak to us smooth things. Don't they told the seers don't see. The seers are prophets. The prophets, he said, hey, don't prophesy to us, man. Don't teach. Nah, hold on. Let me finish this first. Let me do what it is that I'm focused on doing, because that's the thing that this truth would do. Won't this truth take you off of your course? You thought you had it all figured out, didn't you? The truth will say no. And they realized that. They said, man, hold on. And that's what he was telling me. He said, hold on, you telling me too much. What? Isaiah 30 and 10. Let's get that real quick. Go ahead. You can start at verse 9.
Isaiah chapter 30 and verse 9.
Start at 8.
Now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for a time to come, forever and ever.
He said, write it on the table and note it in the book. It's literally written on tables of stone. It's written in books, whether it be scrolls or books like these. And it's been preserved and it's lasted through the ages. He said, you ain't got no excuse. He said, this word is going to be nigh. It's going to be near you. Go ahead.
That this is a rebellious people.
Boy, we can be rebellious. I was telling my brother that last night. I looked at him. I said, you've been knowing you an Israelite for about 3-4 years now. You done went and read so many books. You done traveled. What you waiting on? It didn't take you that long to join the gang. Go ahead.
Lying children that will not hear the law of the Lord.
Many of our people do not want to hear the law. It's crazy because we got so many of our people that'll tell you in a heartbeat. You know how many homeless folks I done ran across? You know. That'll tell you, yeah, I know I'm an Israelite. I know I'm a Jew. But they don't want to keep these laws. Family members, church folks, I know, tribe of Judah. But they don't want to keep these laws. They don't want to keep them. Go ahead and read.
Which say to the seers.
Now this is what the children of Israel say to the seers, to the prophets. Read.
See not.
Don't show me the truth. Don't show me what God says. Don't show me what the Bible is saying. Read.
And to the prophets, prophesy not unto us.
Don't foretell anything to me. Don't make sense of things. Read.
Prophesy not unto us right things.
Don't prophesy unto us right things. If you're going to prophesy, do it like the bootleg preachers. Tell me I got some money on the way, but don't tell me nothing is right. I don't want to hear that because you messing me up. Read.
Speak unto us smooth things.
Speak unto us smooth things. I need to hear something that's going to soothe me. I don't want to hear nothing that's going to deter me from what it is that I want to do right now. I don't want anything that's going to cause me to stumble on this path that I'm on, even though I'm on a dangerous path. I don't want anything to uproot me. Didn't that truth do that to you when you found out who you were? It just shook everything up. It probably shook some of y'all halfway to death. Shook me. I said, oh, hold on. People don't like that. Children of Israel said, just tell me lies. I'd rather hear a good lie. The truth hurts. It hurts too bad. Read.
Prophesy deceits.
Prophesy deceits. So long as you saying some nonsense, you ain't harming me. I feel justified. I can continue doing what I'm doing. Pursuing what I'm pursuing. I had conversations years back because there was a time when I was pursuing the industry. And I had some success. I got people that used to be my people that I don't know no more. I feel like I never knew them. And we were close. But that felt like that was another life. And I got a chance to see things for what they really were. And I remember stepping back, me going through the situations that I went through, and then trying to warn people. And I remember that same cousin, my little cousin. You know, it's easy sometimes you look at, you know, your big cousin, and you say, yeah, I know you had your run, but your time is up. It's easy to look and say, hey, you know, it's easy for you to try to tell me not to do this because you had your time and it didn't work out for you. He didn't understand that that wasn't where I was coming from. I had to make a hard decision. I had to make a decision. And now I look at, you know what I'm saying, he's no longer here, but I look on with my cousins, his brothers, and I look on and I hear other people that I was talking to having conversations years back, thinking I was crazy. And then all of this stuff that came out on YouTube, it's just common knowledge, all of the craziness that comes along with the industry and the entertainment world and all of those things. All of the secret occult things that are a reality, you know, are common knowledge. Things ain't changed too much, man. It's always hard to warn Israel. That's what hurts. That's what hurts. When you look at the story, Lazarus and the rich man. And the rich man said, man, can you send somebody to go and tell my folks? And he had to break the news to him. He said, man, if they ain't listen to Moses, if they ain't listen to the prophets, what makes you think they're going to start listening now? They ain't going to listen. It's a tough pill to swallow. Go from there. I ain't got to beat a dead horse. Go to 2nd Esdras. Second Esdras chapter 6. And let's get 54 through 59.
2nd Esdras chapter 6 verse 54. And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen.
Hold on. He said, after these, Adam also, because he was giving the whole rundown of the creation. And he said, Adam also was created, right? He said, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures. See, put things in perspective. Get your mind out of the bootleg church. Adam was the man that was chosen to be the ruler of all things on this realm that we call earth. That's what it was. When he was told to go and subdue the earth, be the ruler, have dominion. Of him come we all. And that's what people have a hard time figuring this out, because that's all they connected to. We all come from Adam. We all people. We all human beings. We ain't all the same. I don't know another people more remorseful than the children of Israel. I don't know another people more forgiving than the children of Israel. We're absolutely the salt of the earth. As many heinous crimes as we do, and how treacherous we can be, when you really get through all of that, you'll find out there. I don't know another people. I don't know another people who have, and this is scholastically speaking, they have empirical essays that are written on what they call the religiosity of our people, of the children of Israel. We have something in us that causes us to feel as if our world is not complete unless we are serving God. That's why so many of us, man, we went to church for years and years and years, and we went to other places trying to search. We feel like the other religions be quick. I mean, the other nations be quick to be, I don't need no God, or whatever. Our people, we feel like we gotta have a God in place. And our enemies have known this for so long that they've used it to their advantage. But our people, they get caught up because it says we all come from Adam, true. It says, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. He makes a separation. He said all of the nations come from Adam plus the chosen people. There's a separation there. Go ahead and read.
All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou hast madest the world for our sake. He said you made the world for our sakes. And when he's saying our sakes, Ezra was an Israelite. It was understood that the Heavenly Father made this world literally for our people. That's how much he loved us. And if you really want to get real technical, it was our king, his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, who's the one that really put it into play, because the Most High said, I'm good with my son. I created you. You my glory. I love you. He only allowed us to be created so that his son could have that. And that's when you really dig in them scriptures and you understand that. Because the Most High, he'll tell you in a heartbeat, I don't need y'all. But it was Yahweh Shai that said, nah, and as a matter of fact, since they were created for me, he said, I'll come and I'll give my life for them. I'm good in the spirit. I'm pretty sure it feels good being in the spirit and not having to worry about the pain that we got to go through on this earth. He said, I'll go ahead and come in the flesh. He said, I'll do the time and I'll pay for the crime, a crime that he didn't even commit. He said, I'll take everybody's sins on my back. I'll go through the humiliation because they were created for me, and I want them to be right. I want them to have a chance to be my fellow heirs. That's the type of love this man has for us. That's the reason why I ain't got no problem saying I got a king. We got to put things in perspective. We've been so detached from what it means to have a king. Because we've been blacks and Mexicans and Guatemalans and Filipinos and niggas and hoes, and we've been everything except for the children of Israel for so long. We've lost sight. Because when you watch those movies, you know how they be like, I'll die. And we be looking at the movie like, man, I wouldn't die for that nigga. I wouldn't be dying for no king. But then they tell that story so good, it be that one king. And they don't be doing nothing but telling your story. When you got a man who laid it all out on the line for you, wasn't worried about his own life, his own gain. He wasn't worried about getting money. He wasn't worried about romantic relationships and being able to, because some of y'all treat every day like it's your last day. Babe, we may not see tomorrow. Let's go out. Let's eat. Let's have fun. You don't think he desired to have fun? And he chose a lifestyle
that meant that he was going to have to lay his life down. It was all about the work. When he was here, it was all about selflessness and building up the people that he needed to build up because he knew he only had a short time. Boy, when I start to put everything in perspective. Some of us, we got to start checking ourselves. We really got to start checking ourselves. We make too much of ourselves. Go ahead.
As for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel.
He said, that's what I think about the rest of the nations. I love you. I'm invested in you. I don't care about them. I don't care about them. So how do you think he feels when you don't give that same regard to your people that you are a part of, that you come from? You don't have that same sense of investment. How do you think he feels about that? Go ahead and read.
And now, O Lord, behold, these heathens,
these other nations. A heathen is someone without God. Go ahead.
Which has ever been reputed as nothing.
They've always been known to be nothing. The whole world knew that we were the children of Israel. We were Yasha Allah. That we were the chosen people. We were the holy people. To the point when we took over the Roman Empire, it became known as the Holy Roman Empire. Every saint that you read about, you got to look past the whitewashed images and go somewhere and travel somewhere and get some books and see that every last one of these saints was the same color as everybody up in here. And they've taken these same saints and have utilized their names on St. Nicholas and St. Valentine's and St. Patrick and make a mockery. He said these heathens ain't never, man, the white man ain't never been nothing to me.
That's right.
And he ain't never been nothing to your people.
That's right.
And you sitting up here looking at them like they God's gift to earth. And then when you look at your people, you see hopelessness. Read.
Have begun to be lords over us and to devour us.
They ruling over us. They killing us. They destroying us. They profiting off of us. To the point where you don't even feel like you worthy of profiting off of yourself. You feel more comfortable letting the white man get his cut. And you take your little crumbs at the end of the week. They call that a paycheck. If you really understood everything that these heathens have taken from us, you'd really be upset. Go ahead and read.
But we thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover,
go ahead,
are given into their hands.
Given into their hands. Read.
If the world now be made for our sake.
This is what he was saying. He was asking. He said, look now, if the world is really made for our sakes, read.
Why do we not possess an inheritance with the world?
How come we ain't got nothing? Y'all know the answer to that? It's even more than that. And this is actually an answer that should prick your heart. You know why we ain't got nothing? Because we choose not to have anything. And I don't mean no disrespect, man, but it's just on my spirit to say, these kids are the most precious things that we have in our possessions.
That's right.
And we can turn these kids in. We can turn these kids into musicians. We can turn these kids into masters of languages. We can turn these kids into doctors. We can turn these kids into teachers. We can turn these kids into warriors and soldiers.
That's right.
But how much of our time and how much of our energy are we investing in the next generation? If you know that you're closer to death than the majority of these kids, and they're the next vessel to pass everything that you got that's worth anything to pass on, why wouldn't we be putting so much more into them?
That's right.
Because we don't value who we are. We don't value that we the chosen people. You don't value that your kids off top are more athletic than any other nation of people. And they don't even have to work as hard as the other nations. All you got to do is put a little bit of effort into them and they become great.
That's right.
Give them some discipline and they become great. But you don't value that. You don't value that their minds are sharper than all the other nations, to the point where they try to purposely get you to overly vaccinate your children and destroy your children and feed them things that destroy them slowly. Just so that they kids can be competitive. Because otherwise they kids can't compare with your kids mentally. Your kids got a totally different capacity of mental fortitude than any other nation of people, and that's before you even teach them anything. And your children love harder than any other people on the face of this earth. The type of love that they show us and they want to give and want to receive and want reciprocated. And a lot of times we so caught up in our own BS. We waddling in our own despair, in our own mud, to the point where we miss all of them years and all of that opportunity to really build with our children. And then you don't recognize them until they look in you in the face and they look grown, and they are grown, and you realize, and now it's too late, because now they just like you. And you know what that does? That makes our enemies smile. They feel safe. At least another generation, another couple of decades. If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? Because we don't choose to. Read.
How long shall this endure?
How long is this going to endure? When are we going to change this? Because it ain't a matter of whether or not we're going to change it. It's already prophesied that we are. But when? Are you going to leave that responsibility on these kids to hopefully rise above what you wasn't willing to rise above because you was selfish and lazy? I know Israelites, so-called black and Latino people, y'all don't like to be called lazy. Them fighting words. We lazy. We've been lazy. We've given a lackluster effort in regards to doing all of the things necessary to get up out of these curses, to get up out of being captives. What we gonna do?
We're gonna change it. We're gonna change it in True Nation.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about too.
That's what I'm talking about.
When I'm at home, this is all I think of. We're gonna change it.
That's what it need to be.
That's what we're gonna do.
That's what it need to be. You hear what he said? He said, when I'm at home, this is all I think of. It's all I think of.
Because It might take a couple of years, 3, 4, 5 years, but we're going to see it.
2 and 3 go by real quick. That'll be a blessing because we ain't got that much time. Time is near.
We're going to see it. And you know what else, Big Boss? They're going to be managed and groomed properly when they're out there. And they're not going to be controlled by the elements of Esau. They're going to be controlled by the elements of the elders and the bishops of the church and the people who are designed to do that so that they can go out, get their profit, and come back home.
All praise be to the Most High.
Because don't be in the world, don't be of the world. You know what I'm saying?
Con, absolutely. You know, and it's crazy because I see a different poise on the face of all of those up in here that are elder men and elder women. You've seen life. When you were young, you saw what the world looked like. And I guarantee each and every one of you guys will agree unanimously that it's a whole lot more going on right now. Absolutely.
More things change in the world, the more they remain the same. So if any of our children want to do music, it's mandatory they're going to have to read music.
God.
So they can go in Esau's studio, get that big money, that session, and leave. They want to be doctors, lawyers, scientists, business owners, whatever the Lord puts on our heart for these children to do, man. Because, don't get this wrong, but that's me years ago.
God.
I just didn't have the guideline, but I got it now.
God.
You know, I'm like the guy who never got the love, but I can give the love.
God, absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you like this, and I want y'all to hear me because we're getting ready to end this. Our name, as a matter of fact, go there real quick. Book of Genesis, 30. Genesis 30. Is it 30? Yep. 35. Yep. Actually, not 35. It's 32. I'm gonna start at 24.
Big boss, can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
It is our responsibility to do it.
It's our responsibility. It's on us right now.
Yes, sir.
It's on us. What's up? All right, hold on 1 second, son. Let's read this real quick. 24.
Genesis chapter 32, verse 24. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day.
Your forefather, Jacob, Yaquab, found himself in a situation where he was wrestling a man. And he said it, and it says that he started wrestling the man when it was nighttime, and he wrestled him for hours to the point where the sun came up. How many of you guys have ever wrestled? How long does it take for you to get dead tired if you're wrestling? I hear 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 seconds, 1 minute. Hey, sit down, Kaya. Sit down right now. Y'all sit down. Hold on. It doesn't take long. It doesn't take long. How many of you guys have been in a situation and they made you wrestle it out for 5 minutes straight, and that time it felt like 5 minutes was forever? So imagine wrestling somebody all night long. when you watch those fights and when you're in them fights, there's a moment where some fighters have to make a decision. They say, okay, man, these hands are getting weak. These hands are getting weak. I'm losing my grip. I might just go ahead and turn around and cover up and let them just get me and tap. I don't know how much longer I can go. And it's hard to rope-a-dope because Ali, man, I've seen that rope-a-dope. It's harder to rope-a-dope when you're wrestling. It's harder to rope-a-dope. Because you got, hey, even when you on top, you have to know when to shift and how to keep your position, because at any time you can get flipped. So this man by the name of Jacob, your forefather, he was a determined man. Mentally, he was on a whole nother level to say, I'm not going to stop wrestling. You ain't going to stop. I'm not stopping. You ever seen in the movies and they fighting and they fight and they fighting to the death, and one of them be like, all right, hold on. Hold on. Go ahead and read.
And when he saw that he prevailed not against him,
talking about the man, he couldn't prevail against Jacob. Read.
He touched the hollow of his thigh.
He touched the hollow of his thigh. Read.
And the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint.
And he put his thigh out of joint. How many of you guys have ever had anything out of joint, even a finger? Does it feel good? It's excruciating. Yep, I done had to do that too. It's not a good feeling. Anything that you get out of joint, it's not a good feeling. So when you have something like a thigh that you got to stand on, but the moment most people get something out of joint, fight is over. That's it. You see most fighters, something get broke, something's out of joint. All right, that's it. Jacob kept on fighting, kept on wrestling. There's things in our lives that make us say, all right, enough. I'm all right. He kept on. That's what you come from. Read.
As he wrestled with him, and he said, let me go, for the day breaketh.
He said, let me go, man. It's the sun coming up. Ain't you? Come on. Let's call it a tie. Read.
And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me.
Because Jacob knew something. He knew that this wasn't an ordinary man. He knew that this was a celestial being. And if he was a celestial being, he knew that he was sin of the Most High. And Jacob told him straight up, he said, I'm not going to let you go until you bless me. You ain't going to make that trip from wherever you came from all the way down here. I know you ain't here for no reason. You here for a good reason. And what I need from you is I need a blessing. I'm not letting you go. Spiritually discerning. He knew that this wasn't a regular man. He knew a regular man wasn't going to put up the same type of fight. Read.
And he said unto him, what is thy name?
He said to him, so that celestial being looked to him. He said, what's your name? Read.
And he said, Jacob.
He said, my name is Yaquab, Jacob, surplanter. Read.
And he said, thy name shall be called no more Jacob.
He said, man, you ain't gonna, man. No. And that's where we get it. It's in the spirit. Boy, our people love to give nicknames. You go to any so-called black, Latino, Hispanic, hey, we got all kind of nicknames. Papa. Man, it's crazy. I remember being a little kid like, man, I want a nickname. I got so many nicknames. Man, me be embarrassed to tell you half of them. We all got nicknames. Names that people know us by. A lot of people know you by your nicknames more than they know your government name. I know a lot of people that know me well and don't know my government name. love giving nicknames. So guess what he did? He said, what's your name? My name Jacob, Yaquab. He said, your name ain't gonna no longer. Now, number one, you just met this man. You gonna tell this man, you say your name ain't gonna no longer be Yaquab. But watch this, read.
But Israel,
Yasha Allah. Read.
for as a prince hast thou power with the Most High and with men, and hast prevailed.
He said, I'm going to name you Yasha Allah. Yah from Yahweh, meaning the eternal. Eternal. What does it mean to be eternal? Everlasting. You ain't going to die. You're going to live forever. What they call God status. He said, Yah Shar. The Shar comes from Shara, which means what? Prince, authority, leader. He said, I've made you a leader and an authority over all the earth, over all the other nations. And I've made you a prince, meaning I've made you an heir. You're an heir to the throne. Don't take it lightly when he talks about kingship. If the Bible talks about us putting on crowns, then what do you think that means? You just going to have a crown to be walking around and say, I got a crown? The crown is indicative of what? Rulership. That's why they call Yahweh Shai, not just the king, but the King of Kings. They call him the King of Kings, meaning what? There's other kings underneath him. He says the world is created for y'all. Y'all supposed to rule the earth. And you're heirs to the throne. You're heirs to the rulership. You're heirs to the kingdom. The kingdom will be yours. Then last but not least, he said Allah. Allah. Allah means God. It means power. He said, I made you a people of power. You have power and you can call on the Most High power whenever you need me. Whenever you need me, all you got to do is call. A lot of us, you in your circumstance and it feel like it's no way out. There is a way out. And guess how simple it is to get up out? You got to make a choice. It don't matter. Don't worry about how hard it is. Just take it one step at a time. Take it one day at a time. Take it one moment at a time. But you just got to make the decision to get out. You just have to make the decision to say, I'm going to do better. You got to make the decision to say no more captivity. That's all you got to do. We the chosen people, y'all.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
We're the chosen people.
That's right.
All of this other stuff, all of these other things that's on your mind, I need you to put those things to rest for the moment and just remember who you are and start acting like it. All praise be to the Most High.
Yes, sir.
Our people, your people need you. They need you. They're looking at you. They're watching you. This is a message that resonates with me because I know how this truth stirred my family up. I know how this truth made a separation in my family, a big separation in my family. But I also know over time I've seen they watching. Go ahead, Doc. Absolutely.
Does that apply to the scripture where it says, I come to turn order against mother, father against
Absolutely.
child?
Absolutely. But the beautiful thing is, it's crazy because, like I said, some of the people, they felt like it was, they might have felt like it was all BS at first. But they see that you really changed. You really been about what you really been practicing what you've been preaching. They knew who you was before. and they see who you've become, and now they secretly rooting for you. Just remember that. Keep your hands to the plow. Rise to the occasion. All praise be to the Most High. Got any announcements?